On the plains of Mohács, an empire's thunder was unleashed. Artillery roared, shaking the very foundations of a kingdom. Brave knights, overwhelmed, fought with a desperate courage. But against this tide, heroism alone could not prevail. In the black waters of Sele, a king's fate was sealed. With him, the future of an entire nation drowned. Centuries before, a land of ancient legacy, the heart of Europe, a kingdom steeped in history, yet vulnerable. This was Hungary, a bastion against the rising tides of the East, a land seemingly at peace, but living on borrowed time. From the Carpathian Mountains to the Danube, a kingdom stood. But its internal fractures ran deep, a quiet rot, divided by ambition, weakened by internal strife. Its defenses crumbled, a target for an ever-expanding, formidable power. The shadow of the crescent moon grew longer, cast from the distant, yet rapidly approaching Ottoman Empire. From the south, an unstoppable force, an empire at its zenith. The Ottoman war machine, unparalleled in its might. Under the brilliant Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, their ambition knew no bounds. Europe lay open for conquest. Their strategy was meticulous, their technology advanced. Every step forward was a calculated move in a grand design. With overwhelming numbers and a brutal efficiency, the Ottomans prepared to strike at the heart of Christian Europe. Two worlds on a collision course. One, resolute and unified. The other, fracturing under the weight of its own divisions. The air was thick with rumor, then dread. A vast hostile tide was building, threatening to engulf everything. Fear spread like wildfire across the plains. The signs of impending catastrophe were undeniable, visible for all to see. A young king, barely a man, faced an impossible choice. Retreat, or stand and fight against impossible odds. This place, Mohács, would become a name etched in infamy, a desolate plain destined to host an empire's thunder. Here, two vastly different forces would meet, a kingdom's last stand against an insurmountable, relentless tide. The clash was brutal, swift, and utterly decisive, a monumental defeat that would shatter the existing order. More than just a battle, Mohács was a cataclysm, a single day that rewrote the map of Central Europe forever. The monumental why resonates even today. How one devastating battle could forever alter the course of an entire continent. This is the story of Mohács 1526, the empire's thunder that crushed a kingdom, leaving an enduring shadow. In the early 16th century, the once proud Kingdom of Hungary stood as a crumbling bastion, vulnerable and isolated. Wedged precariously between powerful empires, Hungary faced existential threats from every direction, its future hanging by a thread. Internally, the kingdom was a mosaic of conflicting interests, a realm fractured by deep-seated divisions and unrest. Petty squabbles and ruthless power plays among the nobility paralyzed the government, eroding any semblance of unity. The central authority of the crown withered, unable to exert control over its increasingly autonomous and defiant magnates. The Hungarian Diet, meant to forge consensus, often devolved into bitter disputes, achieving little for the kingdom. While the powerful accumulated vast wealth and land, the common people endured grinding poverty and constant exploitation. The royal treasury, once a symbol of power, was notoriously empty, crippled by past extravagance and poor management. Chronic financial woes meant little could be invested in defense, infrastructure, or maintaining a strong professional army. Systemic corruption further siphoned off what little revenue remained, weakening the kingdom's already fragile foundations. Ascending the throne at merely 10 years old, King Louis II inherited a legacy of instability and imminent collapse. Too young to truly rule, Louis was a pawn in the intricate power games of his ambitious regents and advisors. His court was a viper's nest of competing factions, each vying for influence, often at the kingdom's expense. Despite his youth, Louis genuinely strived to unite his fractured kingdom and address its mounting internal problems. However, his efforts to enact meaningful reforms were consistently stymied by noble resistance and lack of funds. All the while, the shadow of the mighty Ottoman Empire loomed ever larger, an unstoppable force hungry for conquest. Hungary stood as Christendom's last effective bulwark, the first line of defense against the encroaching Ottoman tide. Its border defenses were desperately undermanned and underfunded, a testament to the kingdom's systemic failures. For generations, Hungarians had borne the brunt of Ottoman assaults, their resources steadily depleted. Yet, the rest of Christian Europe, entangled in its own conflicts, largely ignored Hungary's increasingly desperate pleas for aid. Promises of support from other Christian realms often proved hollow, leaving Hungary to face its destiny alone. The Hungarian army, once formidable, was a shadow of its former self, lacking vital equipment and experienced leadership. Its fighting strength was meager, deeply fragmented by noble rivalries and a profound lack of central coordination. The young king, despite his resolve, found himself presiding over a kingdom teetering precariously on the brink. Decades of internal strife and external pressure had stripped Hungary of its resilience, leaving it profoundly vulnerable. Isolated and internally fractured, Hungary stood as a solitary sentinel, awaiting an inevitable and brutal confrontation. The stage was set for a dramatic clash, a moment that would forever alter the map of Central Europe. Time was running out for the proud but crumbling bastion. The empire's thunder was gathering on the horizon. The question was not if the storm would break, but whether Hungary could withstand its terrifying, destructive force. The fragile Kingdom of Hungary, caught between a rock and a hard place, awaited its ultimate test. From ancient Anatolia, a new sun rose. The Ottoman Empire, under Suleiman, began its inexorable ascent. This was Suleiman, the lawgiver, the Magnificent. His reign heralded an unprecedented era of power. At its zenith, the Ottoman Empire commanded immense resources, fueled by the ambition of its young sultan. Suleiman's grand vision was not merely expansion, it was the creation of a universal, dominant caliphate. To achieve this, the gateway to Central Europe, the Kingdom of Hungary, stood directly in his path. His ambition was personal, imperial, and deeply religious. He saw himself as the leader of Islam. The Ottoman military was not merely an army. It was a sophisticated, highly efficient war machine. Its core strength lay in unparalleled organization, discipline, and an unbroken chain of command. From gunpowder artillery to elite infantry, every component was honed for maximum destructive power. Logistics, often overlooked, were paramount. Vast supply lines ensured the army's relentless advance. At its heart were the Janissaries, the Sultan's elite slave infantry, renowned for their discipline and ferocity. Forged from Christian boys, they were loyal only to the Sultan, a fearsome and utterly devoted fighting force. Beyond the Janissaries, a diverse array of units, from light cavalry to siege engineers, ensured total battlefield dominance. The campaign against Hungary was not impulsive. It was a meticulously planned, strategic offensive. Hungary was the vital bulwark, controlling the Danube, a direct artery to Vienna and the heart of Christendom. The conquest of Hungary would solidify Ottoman control over the Balkans, a springboard for further conquests. Economic imperatives also drove expansion, securing rich agricultural lands and lucrative trade routes. Suleiman aimed to neutralize any potential Christian threat to his burgeoning European territories. This campaign was a stark declaration of Ottoman supremacy, a challenge to the European powers. It showcased the how of Ottoman power, the blend of military might, administrative efficiency, and clear purpose. Tens of thousands strong, the Ottoman army was an unstoppable force, carefully orchestrated for maximum impact. Every soldier, from the humblest recruit to the highest pasha, understood their role in the grand design. Superior technology, particularly in siege warfare, gave the Ottomans a decisive edge on any battlefield. The why was equally clear: to expand the Dar al-Islam, securing new lands and asserting universal dominion. Hungary was not merely a target, it was a crucial step in a long-term strategy for global influence. Beyond military prowess, a vibrant culture and sophisticated administration sustained this relentless expansion. Suleiman's leadership brought together military genius and political astuteness, forging an unparalleled empire. The Ottoman storm was gathering, its thunder ready to echo across the plains of Central Europe. This was more than just a battle. It was a clash of civilizations, shaping the future of a continent. The empire's thunder was about to be unleashed, promising to crush any kingdom that dared to resist. The year is 1526. An ominous quiet descends upon the Hungarian plain, soon to be a battlefield. This was the fateful stage, chosen by geography and circumstance, where empires would clash. Days before the reckoning, Hungary's desperate muster converged, a kingdom's last stand. The enemy's numbers were staggering, their advance relentless. Time for decision was running out. From fragmented provinces, a disparate force was summoned, ill-equipped yet bound by loyalty. King Louis II, barely 20, bore the crushing weight of a kingdom teetering on the brink. Supply lines were tenuous, morale fragile. The Hungarian host was a shadow of its former strength. Across a fractured kingdom, desperate calls for men-at-arms met slow, often inadequate, responses. The urgency was palpable. Every weapon, every man, every hour counted towards their survival. Feudal levies, mercenary bands, and a few standing regiments formed a patchwork army. Hunger and uncertainty plagued their camps, yet a fierce determination burned within their hearts. The rendezvous point, Mohács, a place destined to carve its name into the annals of history. The majestic Danube, silent witness, flowed past the gathering storm, awaiting the inevitable. They knew the odds were against them, but retreat meant the collapse of their ancient kingdom. This was not merely a battle, it was a desperate gamble for the very soul of Hungary. Within the War Council, stark choices were debated: to wait for reinforcements or confront the Sultan now. Youthful impulsiveness clashed with seasoned caution. The weight of immediate action pressed heavily. The fateful decision was made: engage the Ottomans on the open fields of Mohács. They fortified their lines, hoping the terrain would compensate for their numerical disadvantage. Strategic choices, born of desperation and flawed intelligence, sealed the Hungarian fate on this plain. Their formation was a calculated risk, aiming to blunt the Ottoman charge with concentrated fire. Every commander understood the gravity. Their lives and Hungary's future hinged on this day. The Hungarian cavalry, their famed hussars, prepared for a charge that might turn the tide. Amidst the grim preparations, faith offered solace, a glimmer of hope in the gathering gloom. They stood ready, an outnumbered, yet resolute, bulwark against the Ottoman tide. Meanwhile, the Ottoman war machine, immense and unstoppable, surged towards Mohács. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, architect of empires, led his formidable host with absolute conviction. Beneath the crescent standards, a disciplined force of unparalleled scale advanced relentlessly. The elite Janissaries, shock troops of the Sultan, spearheaded the Ottoman invasion force. Their cannon, powerful and numerous, promised devastating destruction upon the Hungarian lines. The logistical brilliance behind the Ottoman march was a testament to their military supremacy. Advanced Ottoman reconnaissance painted a clear picture of the Hungarian army's vulnerabilities. The scale of the Hungarian resistance seemed meager against the might of the Ottoman Empire. The Sultan understood his overwhelming advantage, meticulously planning the decisive blow. Across the vast plain, the Ottoman forces arrayed themselves, a vast, unstoppable human tide. The chosen ground was flat, ideal for cavalry and cannons, a perfect killing field for the Ottomans. Hungarian artillery, their hopes resting on its destructive power, stood silent and prepared. A palpable tension hung heavy in the air. The final moments of peace were rapidly fading. King Louis rode amongst his men, a youthful monarch facing an empire, his resolve tested. The stage was set. Two empires, two destinies, poised for a thunderous, decisive collision. Across the plain, the disciplined silence of the Ottoman army was heavy with anticipation. The two great hosts, now within sight, stood ready to unleash hell upon one another. Hearts pounded, breath caught. The roar of battle, imminent and terrifying, hung in the balance. The moment of truth had arrived. The clash of empires was about to commence, reshaping a continent. Before the storm, an empire's might readied. Strategic deployment defined the field, meticulously prepared for battle. Suleiman the Magnificent surveyed the landscape. His brilliant tactics would soon unleash an unstoppable, devastating power. Hungarian lines stood firm, a defiant wall. Yet, an ominous, unfamiliar silence hung heavy in the air. The ground rumbled as gargantuan cannons were hauled forward. Ottoman artillery, a new era of warfare, took its place. Powder charged, fuses readied. Each cannon became a harbinger of destruction, poised to tear through Hungarian resolve. These bronze behemoths were the cutting edge. Their thunderous roar promised an unparalleled, brutal battlefield dominance. Hungarian heavy cavalry formed formidable wedges, their ancestral courage and heavy lances prepared for the charge. The Ottoman array was a masterclass in layered warfare, each component perfectly orchestrated for maximum impact. Behind the great guns, the elite Janissaries took their positions. Their disciplined musketry was a new, deadly threat. A solitary drum beat, then a raised sword. The signal given, the Empire's thunder was about to be unleashed. A deafening roar tore through the air. The first devastating volley, an iron rain, descended upon the Hungarians. Iron shot tore through flesh and steel. Hungarian ranks shattered under the bombardment, a horrifying, immediate impact. Panic mixed with stubborn resolve. Hungarian warriors, though reeling, desperately attempted to maintain their faltering lines. Wave after wave of devastating fire. The Ottoman artillery delivered relentless, suffocating destruction, unceasingly pulverizing the enemy. Through the choking smoke, the Janissaries marched. Their muskets, loaded and ready, awaited their deadly moment. Behind the elite, the main Ottoman infantry advanced. Their organized, steady progress was an ominous, inescapable tide. Hungarian commanders desperately rallied their men, but the relentless Ottoman advance was proving impossible to stem. A coordinated flash, a thunderous crack. Janissary muskets unleashed their deadly precision, tearing into the Hungarian front. Hungarian armor, once formidable, offered little defense. Musket balls found their marks, creating horrific, bloody devastation. The synchronized hammer blow was absolute. Artillery and musketry combined, delivering an overwhelming, shattering, coordinated assault. A desperate, valiant Hungarian charge began. Brave knights, against impossible odds, sought to stem the tide. Ottoman lines held firm. They braced for impact, presenting an unyielding wall of disciplined steel and focused resistance. Steel met steel in a bloody, brutal melee. Hungarian bravery clashed with overwhelming Ottoman numbers and firepower. Valorous Hungarians fought to the last. Their sacrifice, though heroic, could not turn the battle's cruel tide. Seeing the breakthrough, Ottoman reserves advanced. Fresh troops poured into the breach, intensifying the relentless pressure. Hungarian lines, strained beyond endurance, began to buckle. The once defiant formation was now visibly fracturing. Swift Ottoman cavalry executed flanking maneuvers. The Sipahis sought to encircle and complete the Hungarian destruction. The Hungarian center, once formidable, began to crumble. Disarray spread, signaling the battle's grim turning point. King Louis II, caught in the maelstrom, valiantly struggled. His kingdom's fate rested precariously upon his shoulders. Ottoman artillery, adapting to the chaos, adjusted fire. They targeted remaining strongholds, ensuring total, crushing defeat. The Janissaries pressed forward, disciplined and relentless. Their muskets, now bayonets, solidified their absolute battlefield dominance. Retreat turned into a desperate rout. Hungarian soldiers, overwhelmed and shattered, scattered in hopeless, chaotic flight. Swift Ottoman cavalry sealed escape routes. Pursuing relentlessly, they transformed retreat into an utter, devastating massacre. The field of Mohács became a testament to devastation. Hungarian lives, sacrifices, now lay scattered across the blood-soaked land. Triumphant Ottoman cries echoed across the plains. Victory secured. An empire's power undeniably asserted itself. Suleiman watched the battle's grim conclusion. His strategic brilliance had delivered a crushing, undeniable, historic triumph. The sheer scale of destruction was appalling. A kingdom's army, utterly annihilated, vanished beneath the Ottoman hammer blow. A fallen banner symbolized crushing defeat. Hungary's proud standard now lay broken, a tragic emblem of lost sovereignty. The victorious Ottomans began consolidating. Their disciplined efficiency secured the field, affirming complete strategic and tactical dominance. This was the how of victory. Superior firepower, coordinated maneuvers, and disciplined troops ensured Ottoman triumph. Ottoman artillery revolutionized warfare. Its devastating, relentless barrages shattered formations, rendering traditional charges obsolete. Janissary musketry provided the lethal follow-up. Their synchronized fire transformed the battlefield, delivering precise, deadly volleys. The coordinated assault was unstoppable. A perfect storm of gunpowder, steel, and tactical genius overwhelmed the Hungarian defense. Mohács demonstrated overwhelming Ottoman power. An empire's thunder had irrevocably crushed a kingdom, changing Europe forever. The Hungarian lines, a bastion of defiance, initially withstood the overwhelming Ottoman onslaught. A fragile hope still flickered, but the numerical disparity was immense. Ottoman Janissaries pressed relentlessly, their disciplined ranks eroding Hungarian resolve. The Hungarian center, though valiant, began to buckle. The sheer weight of the Ottoman host threatened to shatter it completely. Then came the devastating flanking maneuvers. Ottoman cavalry, fresh and swift, wheeled around, sealing the Hungarians' fate. Hungarian cavalry launched desperate countercharges, but found themselves outnumbered and outmaneuvered. The encirclement tightened. Ottoman artillery continued its merciless barrage, tearing gaping holes in the Hungarian formations, sowing terror and disarray. King Louis II, from his central command, witnessed the unfolding tragedy. His young kingdom teetered on the brink. Commanders fought valiantly to maintain cohesion, their desperate pleas lost amidst the screams, steel, and gunpowder smoke. The ground became a macabre tapestry of death, crimson stains spreading across the Hungarian plain. Hope was dwindling. Despite the mounting odds, individual acts of heroism illuminated the grim battlefield. A final, desperate stand commenced. The encirclement was complete. Hungarian soldiers found themselves caught in an iron trap with no viable escape route. Panic began to ripple through the ranks. The realization of overwhelming defeat began to crush even the bravest spirits. Yet, even in the jaws of defeat, some fought with suicidal courage, refusing to yield an inch to the Ottoman advance. The Hungarian lines fractured under the continuous assault. Retreat became an uncontrollable route, fueled by terror. What began as a desperate defense now transformed into a full-scale catastrophe. The Hungarian army dissolved into chaos. King Louis II, surrounded by his loyal bodyguard, was now in grave peril. They implored him to abandon the collapsing field. His personal guard fought with savage devotion, carving a path through the swirling melee, safeguarding their young monarch. Amidst the carnage and pandemonium, the king and his small retinue attempted their perilous escape from the battlefield. However, the landscape itself conspired against them. The flat plain transformed into a treacherous, swampy quagmire. Heavy armor and tired horses were no match for the waterlogged earth. Many fleeing soldiers became hopelessly mired. The Seely Stream, an innocuous waterway, now presented a formidable, deadly obstacle for the retreating Hungarians. Hundreds of men and horses plunged into its murky depths, struggling against the current, caught in the treacherous mud. King Louis II, burdened by his heavy armor, watched his powerful warhorse flounder in the inescapable, clinging mire. With a final, desperate lurch, the horse threw its royal rider. King Louis II plummeted into the cold, churning waters. His heavy, ceremonial armor became a leaden shroud, dragging the young monarch down into the unforgiving depths. The Seely Stream, a silent, treacherous assassin, claimed the life of Hungary's king. He was just 20 years old. Back on the battlefield, Ottoman victory cries echoed across the plains. The Hungarian army was utterly annihilated. The shattered remnants of the Hungarian army fled in terror, scattering across the land, their kingdom now leaderless. Mohács was not merely a defeat. It was the catastrophic end of an independent Hungarian kingdom. A new era began. For days, the body of King Louis II remained lost. The Seille stream held its grim secret. Finally, his retainers found him, washed ashore amidst the debris of battle. The kingdom's worst fears realized. The lifeless face of King Louis II marked the tragic culmination of Hungary's fateful route. A dynasty ended. The Mohács battlefield lay silent, forever etched into history as the graveyard of a nation's independence. The Ottoman Empire, now unopposed, stretched its formidable reach deep into Central Europe. The balance of power shifted. Hungary, once a proud bulwark, was tragically carved up, its territories falling under Ottoman and Habsburg rule. The Battle of Mohács represented more than a military defeat. It was a profound cultural and political catastrophe. For generations, the memory of Mohács haunted the Hungarian psyche, a symbol of national trauma and loss. A proud kingdom, once a formidable force, vanished in a single devastating afternoon on the Mohács field. The empire's thunder had rolled across the Danube, crushing a kingdom and altering the course of European history. Mohács stands as a stark reminder of how swiftly fortunes can turn, how an empire's might can shatter a nation. Today, monuments stand in solemn tribute to the fallen, commemorating a battle that reshaped a continent. The echoes of that fateful day in 1526 still resonate, a somber lesson from the annals of military history. Mohács was the final, tragic act in a desperate struggle, signaling the twilight of medieval Hungary's independence. The thunder of the Ottoman Empire at Mohács reverberated for centuries, forever changing Hungary's destiny and identity. The dust settled on Mohács, revealing a landscape of unparalleled devastation. A kingdom's heart lay shattered. King Louis II, heir to a proud lineage, met his tragic end. His death echoed doom across Hungary. Chaos reigned as survivors dispersed, their faces etched with the horror of defeat. Hungary's spirit was broken. Whispers of catastrophe traveled fast. Messengers carried the grim news to distant European courts, igniting fear. Shockwaves reverberated across the continent. European leaders grappled with the unthinkable loss, fearing the Ottoman advance. Mohács proved a terrifying reality. The Ottoman tide now threatened the very heart of Christendom. Europe held its breath. With King Louis gone, the Hungarian throne stood vacant, a gaping void at the kingdom's core. No direct heir remained. Powerful Hungarian magnates immediately began their desperate scramble for succession. Unity fractured amidst the ensuing power vacuum. Rivalries intensified, splitting the aristocracy. Hungary, once united, now splintered into warring, self-serving factions. The very fabric of the Hungarian state began to unravel. Its institutions crumbled, leaving a powerless, leaderless nation. While Hungary fractured, Sultan Suleiman consolidated his victory, eyeing the fallen kingdom with cold, calculated ambition. Buda, the Hungarian capital, fell swiftly into Ottoman hands. A new chapter of occupation began, brutally enforced. Ottoman influence quickly spread, carving out new pashaliks and vassal states from the shattered Hungarian realm. The Ottoman frontier now pushed deep into Central Europe, a formidable and lasting barrier for centuries to come. Across the border, Archduke Ferdinand I of Austria pressed his dynastic claims. A marriage treaty was his leverage. With cunning diplomacy and strategic pressure, Ferdinand wooed the terrified Hungarian nobility. A new protector emerged. Habsburg forces moved to secure Western Hungary, establishing a buffer against the Ottomans. Their influence solidified quickly. Thus, a significant portion of the fractured kingdom fell under Habsburg dominion, becoming a vital part of their growing empire. Hungary was brutally torn apart, its ancient kingdom fragmenting into three distinct, bitterly contested geopolitical entities. The map of Central Europe was redrawn. Hungary became a battleground, a buffer state under two vast empires. Mohács irrevocably ended Hungarian sovereignty. A proud kingdom, once a bulwark, was now merely a prize. The geopolitical landscape of Europe fundamentally transformed. The Ottoman threat loomed larger than ever, redefining alliances. Mohács cast a long, dark shadow, dictating centuries of conflict and division. Its legacy shaped modern Central Europe. The field of Mohács lay silent, a grave for a kingdom. Its echo reverberated for centuries. With King Louis II's fall, Hungary lost more than a battle. It lost its sovereignty. Mohács marked the grim end of independent medieval Hungary, forging a new, fractured destiny for the nation. The Ottoman thunder, having crushed a king, now rolled unchecked into the heart of Central Europe. Simultaneously, the powerful Habsburg dynasty asserted its own claim, eager to fill the ensuing power vacuum. Hungary, once a formidable bulwark, was brutally torn apart. A prize contested by two empires, this division wasn't temporary. It defined Central European geopolitics for nearly 2 centuries, fundamentally reshaping the region. Under Ottoman rule, southern Hungary transformed. New administrations, cultures, and religions took root deep. While some stability emerged, the human cost was immense. Centuries of foreign taxes and displacement changed lives forever. Islam arrived with the Ottomans, introducing new religious dynamics, sometimes clashing, often coexisting within Hungary. The border between Ottoman Hungary and the Habsburg domains became Europe's new, bloody, volatile frontier. Yet, even under occupation, the spirit of Hungarian resistance flickered, waiting for the opportune moment to ignite. In the West, the Habsburgs consolidated their control over Royal Hungary, integrating it into their vast empire. Habsburg economic policies redirected Hungary's resources, tying its prosperity to Vienna's imperial ambitions and needs. Catholic counter-reformation intensified under the Habsburgs, shaping Hungary's religious and cultural identity profoundly. Habsburg rule, while offering protection from the Ottomans, often sought to assimilate Hungarian distinctiveness into their empire. Despite pressures, a distinct Hungarian national identity endured, a resilient flame against imperial winds of change. Mohács cast a centuries-long shadow, defining Hungary's struggle for self-determination against formidably imperial powers. This era of foreign rule indelibly shaped Hungary's national identity, forging a unique resilience and spirit. The scars of occupation, both Ottoman and Habsburg, were etched onto Hungary's land and into its collective memory. The battle's legacy extended far beyond Hungary, permanently altering the geopolitical landscape of Central Europe. Even today, the echoes of Mohács resonate, shaping Hungary's self-perception and its place in the world. Mohács was more than a battle. It was the crucible that forged a nation's enduring spirit through centuries of shadow. Mohács, more than a battle, it was a cataclysm, a pivot point forever altering the very fabric of European history. The fall of Hungary opened vast new frontiers, solidifying Ottoman power deep within the continent for centuries. This devastating defeat irrevocably shifted the balance of power, ushering in the powerful Habsburg ascendancy. Its shadow cast long over Hungarian identity, a national trauma echoing through centuries of resilience and struggle. The field of Mohács became a grave, a testament to the brutal efficiency of Ottoman military might. Thousands of lives extinguished in a single afternoon, a generation of Hungarian nobility lost forever. With its king slain and army annihilated, the ancient Kingdom of Hungary effectively ceased to exist. The Ottoman Empire's thunder truly crushed a kingdom, cementing its dominant presence in southeastern Europe. Mohács was a geopolitical earthquake, reshaping alliances and initiating centuries of conflict and cultural exchange. The echoes of Mohács resound, reminding us of history's profound, often brutal turning points. For more epic cinematic journeys into military history, make sure to hit that subscribe button now. Like this deep dive? Leave a comment below, share your thoughts and contribute to the discussion. Help us spread these forgotten sagas of epic and war by sharing this video with others. Join our leading analysis channel as we continue exploring history's most pivotal cinematic military conflicts.